Good morning, Strasburg United Methodist Church and other friends. Today is April 4th, 2020. Now, I always remember this day because I'm a big fan of the Irish band U2. In their 1984 song, Pride, in the Name of Love, these lyrics cry out: Early morning, April 4, shots ring out in the Memphis sky. Free at last, they took your life, they could not take your pride. Now, when I was a teenager and really getting into music, I remember searching out the name of that person who they were singing about. Now, it was pretty easy because it was Martin Luther King Jr. Now, he was only 39 years old when he was shot while standing outside the motel room in Memphis on the morning of April 4th. In 1968, Martin Luther King Jr. had focused his campaign for civil rights on the least of our society. He was leading what he called the Poor People's Campaign. He was fighting for better housing, wages, workplace safety, and access to schools. He had traveled to Memphis, Tennessee to support 1,300 African American sanitation workers that worked for the city of Memphis and who had been on strike for a fairer wage. On April 3rd, 1968, he had spoken to a church and had given a sermon that we now know as the Mountaintop Speech. You see, Martin Luther King Jr. uses an illustration from Exodus, straight out of the book of Exodus. You see, King, like Moses, had seen the promised land, but there is doubt as to whether he will ever enter it. King concludes his sermon with these words: "And he's allowed me to go up to the mountain, and I've looked over, and I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we, as a people, will get to the promised land. So I'm happy tonight. I'm not fearing anything. I'm not fearing any man. Mine eyes have seen the coming of the glory of the Lord." Now, posthumously, King was awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom in 1977 by President Jimmy Carter. And the citation read, "Martin Luther King Jr. was the conscience of his generation. He gazed upon the great wall of segregation and saw that the power of love could bring it down. From the pain and exhaustion of his fight to fulfill the promises of our founding fathers for our humblest citizens, he wrung his eloquent statement of his dream for America. He made our nation stronger because he made it better. His dream sustains us yet." Now, we are in the midst of a great tumult. As we deal with the immediate concern of health and safety and sustenance, we are not thinking about the next 6 months or 1 year or 10 years down the road. You see, we're like that other part of Exodus. We're like the Israelites wandering around in the desert for 40 years with Moses. But soon, we will be able to be on that mountaintop, gazing at the promised land. And I hope that when we gaze at that promised land, we will continue working for equality, justice, and peace. Amen.